Prime Field.
Welcome back to Prime Field, where we dive deep into the stories that shape college basketball's future. I'm your host, and today we're exploring one of the most compelling comeback stories in women's college basketball. A story that's still being written. Picture this: a 6'5" tower of potential, sidelined by injury, watching from the wings as her teammates battle on the court. But here's the thing about champions. They don't stay down for long. Today we're talking about Adhel Tac, and why the South Carolina Gamecocks might have just found their secret weapon for the 2025 to 2026 season. You know, in basketball, there's this concept called the X Factor. That player who comes out of nowhere and changes everything. For South Carolina, that X Factor might just be standing 6'5" tall, wearing we'll get to that. But first, let me paint you a picture of what makes this story so extraordinary. The whispers around Columbia are getting louder. Coaches are taking notice, analysts are starting to pay attention, and the name they're all mentioning, Adhel Tac. But this isn't just another recruiting story. This is about resilience, about second chances, and about the kind of player who could single-handedly shift the balance of power in women's college basketball. So buckle up, because we're about to take you on a journey from high school stardom through the darkness of injury and into what could be the most exciting breakout season in recent memory. This is the Adhel Tac story, and trust me, you're going to want to hear every single detail. Let's rewind the clock and travel back to where it all began. Adhel Tac wasn't just another tall kid learning basketball. She was a force of nature waiting to be unleashed on the hardwood. Standing at an imposing 6'5", Tac dominated high school basketball with a combination of size, skill, and basketball IQ that had college scouts practically camping out in gymnasium bleachers. But here's what made her special. It wasn't just her height. During her sophomore season, she was putting up numbers that would make seasoned veterans jealous. 14.1 points and 8.8 rebounds per game. Now you might be thinking, those are solid numbers, but what's the big deal? Here's the thing. Those statistics only tell part of the story. What the numbers don't show you is the way she controlled the paint, the way she altered shots without even touching the ball, and the way opposing coaches had to completely restructure their game plan just to account for her presence. The recruiting experts took notice too. By the time the class of 2024 rankings were finalized, Adhel Tac found herself ranked as the 26th best recruit in the entire nation. That's not just impressive. That's elite company. Now, we're talking about a player who is being mentioned in the same breath as future college stars and potential WNBA prospects. But what really caught the attention of college coaches wasn't just her current ability. It was her potential. At 6'5", with room to grow, displaying guard skills and a forward's body, Tac represented the modern basketball player that every program dreams of landing. She could score in the post, had developing range from the perimeter, and possessed the kind of basketball instincts that simply can't be taught. The recruitment process became a feeding frenzy, with programs from coast to coast making their pitches. But there was something about South Carolina, something about Coach Dawn Staley's vision that resonated with Tac and her family in a way that other programs simply couldn't match. Every great sports story has that moment, that plot twist that changes everything. For Adhel Tac, that moment came during what should have been her triumphant senior season of high school basketball. The injury happened during a routine play, the kind of play she'd executed thousands of times before. But basketball, like life, can be unpredictable. In an instant, the knee that had carried her to a national ranking, the knee that had powered her through countless games and practices, betrayed her at the worst possible moment. The diagnosis was devastating. A significant knee injury that would require extensive rehabilitation, and more importantly, would cost her precious development time during what should have been her final high school season. For many young athletes, this would have been the end of the dream, but Adhel Tac isn't like most athletes. Here's where the story takes an interesting turn. Instead of wallowing in disappointment or taking a gap year to recover, Tac made a decision that would prove to be absolutely brilliant. She chose to enroll early at South Carolina, turning what could have been a setback into an opportunity. Think about the wisdom in that decision for a moment. By getting to campus early, she gained access to world-class medical facilities, top-tier rehabilitation specialists, and the kind of support system that only a program like South Carolina can provide. But more than that, she got a front-row seat to championship-level basketball, learning from some of the best players and coaches in the country. The 2024-25 season became her learning laboratory. While officially redshirting, Tac was absorbing everything. Every practice drill, every film session, every moment of championship preparation. She was like a basketball sponge, soaking up knowledge while her body healed, and her hunger for competition grew stronger with each passing day. Coach Dawn Staley saw something special during this period, not just the physical recovery, But the mental toughness, dedication to improvement, and the way Tac approached her rehabilitation with the same intensity she'd once brought to games, this wasn't just a player getting healthy. This was a champion being forged in the crucible of adversity. As we roll into the 2025-26 season, something electric is happening in Columbia, South Carolina. The whispers have turned into conversations, the conversations into expectations, and those expectations are all centered around one player, Adhel Tac. Coach Dawn Staley doesn't throw around comparisons lightly. When she talks about players, every word is measured, every assessment careful. So when she started mentioning Adhel Tac in the same breath as Aliyah Boston, that got everyone's attention real quick. For those who remember Boston's impact on the program, you understand the magnitude of that comparison. We're talking about a player who helped deliver a national championship, who dominated on both ends of the floor, and who redefined what it meant to be a complete college basketball player. To suggest that Tac has that same potential, that's not just hope, that's belief. But what exactly makes Tac such a potential game changer? It starts with what Coach Staley calls her high motor. This isn't just about effort. This is about relentless pursuit of excellence on every single possession. Whether she's crashing the board, sprinting back in transition, or battling for a position in the post, Tac brings an intensity that elevates everyone around her. Her interior presence is already making waves in practice. At 6'5", with improved mobility post-recovery, she's creating problems that opposing coaches are going to lose sleep over. She can score with her back to the basket, she's developing a reliable mid-range shot, and her rebounding instincts are absolutely elite. But here's what might be most impressive. Her basketball IQ and communication skills. During her redshirt year, she didn't just observe, she studied. She learned the nuances of high-level basketball, the subtle adjustments that separate good players from great ones, and the kind of leadership that championship teams require. The Gamecocks are looking to reclaim their status as a national powerhouse. And Tac's emergence? It couldn't come at a better time. Her combination of size, skill, and determination represents exactly the kind of player that can shift the entire trajectory of a program season. As the 2025-26 campaign approaches. Here's what makes the Adhel Tac story truly special. It's not just about one player's comeback. It's about the ripple effect that one determined athlete can have on an entire program, an entire sport, and countless young athletes who are watching from hospital beds and rehabilitation centers around the world. Let's talk about what success looks like for South Carolina this season. We're not just talking about wins and losses here. We're talking about a complete transformation of expectations. With Adhel Tac anchoring the front court, the Gamecocks suddenly have the kind of interior presence that makes championship runs possible. Picture this scenario. It's March, the arena's packed, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The opposing coach calls a timeout, frantically drawing up plays on his clipboard. But here's the problem he's facing. How do you game plan for a player who wasn't supposed to be this good this soon? How do you prepare for someone who's been quietly perfecting her craft while everyone else was looking elsewhere? That's the beauty of the X Factor concept. By definition, it's the variable that changes everything. And coaches across the country are already starting to take notice. They're watching film, they're making adjustments, they're trying to figure out how to contain a player who represents everything modern basketball is evolving toward. But here's what's really fascinating about Tac's emergence. It's not happening in isolation. Her presence is already elevating the players around her. When you have a legitimate interior threat, it opens up opportunities for your guards. When you have someone who can rebound and run the floor, it changes your entire pace of play. When you have a player with championship-level work ethic, it raises the standard for everyone in practice. The recruiting implications are staggering. Future high school stars are watching what's happening in Columbia, and they're seeing a program that develops players, that believes in second chances, and that turns potential into championship banners. Adhel Tac isn't just changing South Carolina's present, she's helping secure their future. You know, in all my years covering basketball, I've learned that the most compelling stories aren't always about the players who never faced adversity. They're about the ones who got knocked down and found a way to get back up stronger than before. Tac's journey from injury to X Factor isn't just inspiring, it's a masterclass in resilience. Think about the young athletes out there right now dealing with their own setbacks, their own injuries, their own moments of doubt, and they're going to be watching Adhel Tac this season. And they're going to see proof that setbacks don't have to be endings. They can be setups for something even greater. The WNBA scouts are already circling. They see a player with professional size, developing skills, and the kind of mental toughness that translates to the next level. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. Right now, there's a season to be played, expectations to exceed, and a championship to chase. As we look ahead to tip-off, the anticipation is palpable. South Carolina has all the pieces in place, veteran leadership, elite coaching, and now Their X Factor is ready to unleash a year's worth of pent-up competitive fire on the college basketball world. The rehabilitation is complete. The preparation is finished. The stage is set for one of the most compelling individual seasons in recent memory. Adhel Tac's name is about to become familiar to basketball fans everywhere. But more importantly, her story is about to inspire countless others who refuse to let setbacks define their futures. This season isn't just about basketball. It's about the power of perseverance, the beauty of second chances, and the magic that happens when preparation meets opportunity. The X Factor has arrived, and college basketball will never be the same. From all of us here at Prime Field, thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell.
Prime Field.